Well, in the summer, I had to say something about this, but it never really came to pass. But finally, looks like it has gonna hit to come to pass. Neymar Santos Jr. to Santos, very close. Looks like his deal with Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia has gonna hit to come to an end, and there is a mutual contract termination to see to it that Neymar flies back to Brazil and gets back to his boyhood club. Then Pep Guardiola has come out and given us an insight on which players are gonna be out of action as they play their last game in the group stages of the Champions League that will decide their fate on whether they obviously get to the next level of the Champions League or not. Rokani David is my name. 27th January it is, and that means we are left with how many days? 5 days to obviously end the month of January, and it's moving thick and fast, and we are also trying to obviously move thick and fast. We are powered by Mono Gadgets, dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops, and this is RD onto this channel. And Mono Gadgets are dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops. Even if you need a used phone and a used laptop, call them on +256 70 99 88 665, and you will thank me later for what you've gonna hit obviously do. So even if you need an affordable smartwatch, we've gonna hit to obviously provide all the possible information about it, and call that number and you'll get an affordable smartwatch from Mono Gadgets, and you won't regret for really buying from Mono Gadgets because they are really ready, steady to give you the best of the best that you deserve. Now, Fabrizio Romano yesterday night came up with a story, and he told us that breaking, Neymar's return to Santos now imminent as verbal agreement has been reached. 4 more steps to follow next week for final formula of the deal from Al Hilal and contracts to be checked. Neymar already said to the move, "Here we go" is coming soon. Now, Neymar, ever since he went at Al Hilal on a huge amount of money, he never played a lot of games because he found himself in a position of not being able to play as he got an ACL injury. And when he returned, the manager, known as Jesus, came up and obviously told us that he cannot really match the level and the intensity of the league. And for me, I believe that's not the reason as to why they've gonna hit obviously sell this guy. I think it's all about the fees and the amount of money they are spending onto the player and what they are really getting back, for their spend. So I think it's all up. It's more of financial reason than him leaving the side of Al Hilal. I think it's a financial reason. For me, it's all finance. It's all finance decorated over this deal, I tell you, because if it was not all finance decorated over this deal, there is no reason as to why Al Hilal would obviously take off Neymar. You can't tell me that he has lost his touch, he cannot really meet the levels of the Saudi Pro League. And use your common sense. Can you compare the Saudi Pro League with the Brazilian League? The Brazilian League is really far much better than the Saudi Pro League, because Brazilian players have been signed direct from Brazil, and they've come and hit the ground running in the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Eredivisie, Ligue 1, name it, French Ligue 1. But tell me a team that is really very reputable that goes to Saudi Arabia and signs their player. No way. It's Saudi Arabia that comes to dish out their money to see if that all really goes on well as planned. But we all knew to it that they did this to obviously create a vibe that they're a footballing country because they were anticipating to really host the World Cup. And finally, it was given to them. And after really getting the World Cup, they are like, let's get to the basics and let's obviously see to it that we get in our own players into these teams to play around with these other players. And very soon it's gonna be hard for a player to go to Saudi Arabia because they are not dishing out money like they did when they signed Ronaldo, Neymar, Sadio Mane, and very many others. You understand? So I think it's more of a financial reason than a football reason. But for Neymar Santos, I know in his plan, he wants to play in the World Cup of 2026, and he believes that he needs to feel home. He needs to feel at home, and I think his family is family sick. He wants to be in Brazil and goes back to Santos. And I think he's really going to be hugely welcome there. And in this January transfer window, we might see Neymar, or we are going to see Neymar going back to Santos. And I don't think that there is going to be any transaction made for this deal to happen. I think it's going to be a mutual understanding. Terminate that deal and let Neymar get back to Brazil and see to it that he enjoys himself. And we've always gone ahead to see that whenever he's playing in Brazil, he's okay, he looks good, and he's that kind of player that will put in a shift as required. And let's see to it that he really gets his charge. But he's one of those players that came to the football scene, promised a lot, and delivered less. That is Neymar for you. But when you look at Neymar, he's one of those players that has gone ahead to obviously be one of the best players in this generation. But one thing he lacked was consistency. And maybe the Messi and Ronaldo dominance went ahead to obviously block him a little bit and was like, what am I dying for? Because these two cannot be surpassed. I think he gave up very early. But if he ever at any point stayed at Barcelona, I believe he would have gone ahead obviously do the needful. And by the way, each and every time I do a story of Neymar, like concerning the transfers, I've always gone ahead to criticize his transfer to PSG. Leaving Barcelona was a very good move, but I think he left for a wrong club. If he left Barcelona and went to the Premier League, either to Man City or to Chelsea, teams that were competing hugely by then, and Liverpool, I tell you, he would have gone ahead to win a Ballon d'Or. That is it. He would have gone ahead to win it because he was at his prime. And I think that deal happened. Was it in 2019? 2018, there around. And that deal happened 7 years back. If you really dial back the tape or rewind the tape, 2018, 2019, Chelsea was a team that was really one of those that would have gone ahead, obviously, went ahead to dominate some good football. Man City, and I think they would have gone ahead to break the bank and obviously brought in a player like Neymar, Santos. But him going to PSG and him failing to obviously lead PSG to win the Champions League, because the only way he would win a Ballon d'Or is to see to it that PSG lifts the Champions League. And the only time they played the finale was in 2020, right? And Bayern Munich beat them by 1 goal only scored by Kingsley Coleman. And even if he had gone ahead to obviously score a goal in that game, or even if he would have gone to lift it, the Ballon d'Or was scrapped off that year, you understand? And Lewandowski was supposed to win it, but he didn't win it, meaning that even if he won the Champions League that season, Neymar wouldn't have gone ahead to obviously get that Ballon d'Or. So I think he has been too complacent with so much talent, and he reached down there and said, all right, I had a chance to obviously turn this around, but I didn't really do the needful. And for Neymar, wish him all the best, and I don't think that he's really going to retire. And I know from the Brazilian side, he'll obviously have to travel to America and really play some football there. I know he needs money, and his family will be excited for him to go back to Brazil and then later go to the side of USA. And I know it's all about the World Cup of 2026 that is happening next year. And he wants to be in Brazil, get back to full fitness, and see to it that Dorival Jr., the manager of Brazil, obviously gives him a go into the team. But the deal is closed. Here we go next. You understand? He's getting back to his boyhood club where they signed him hugely and they paid a hefty fee. And Barcelona paid a hefty fee for him to come and obviously join them and play with them. Now, from that, we are having Pep Guardiola. He has gone ahead to obviously throw a huge insight onto what he thinks the side of Man City is gonna be like when they're playing in the midweek. He has said, I don't know how much, but while Doku will not be ready for Wednesday versus Club Brugge for sure. I don't think so for Arsenal. I think he will see. I think we'll see. So Doku is one of those players that are really gonna be out. You understand? And in the game of Club Brugge, he ruled out, and in the game of Arsenal, he doesn't expect him to play. But City has gonna hit reinforce their squad, I tell you. They've gonna hit reinforce their squad a little bit. And as it stands, they've put in a very huge shift altogether as a side of City, and nothing's obviously gonna stop them from obviously getting to where they deserve to be as a side of City. But they're really doing well. Mamosh looked well when he played, when they're playing against Chelsea, and Jeremy Doku is out. And I know they really have lots of options. The Grealish of this world, Foden can play there. You can see other players also playing there. Mamosh can play that side. So we're waiting to see how the manager is obviously going to line up on Wednesday when they're playing Club Brugge. Then he also had another sad story to add to what he had already gone ahead to say, that the situation is Ruben Diaz is not there, Nathan Ake neither. So that's why we are lucky that Manuel Akanji stayed and John Stones can help us for our final on Wednesday versus Club Brugge. Why does it call it a final? He needs obviously come up and put in a shift, and that shift will obviously lead to his winning and winning and winning and winning and winning a game. To see to it that he obviously tries to force his way into what we call the next round of the Champions League, the playoff stage. And for Diaz and Nathan Ake out, we don't know whether they're obviously going to be out when they're also playing against Arsenal. But if at all they're out playing Arsenal, then Arsenal at Emirates are really going to have an edge over Man City. Because if you bring in John Stones or Kusanov to partner with Jesco Vadio, when you're obviously going to be playing that side of Arsenal, I tell you, it's really going to be a hard game. Now I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Neymar Santos deal. Very close. What do you think about it? Is it a right move for him to go back to Brazil? Then your wide thoughts onto those players that Man City are really missing in action ahead of the game of Club Brugge and Arsenal. Bye bye for now. Good morning, and continue to subscribe because we want to hit 24,000. It is 25,000. That's our target, and continue to subscribe. I'm out.